It's time now for US News with the queen of American showbiz, royal and political reporting, Kinsey Schofield.
Leo, it sounds like magic coming out of your mouth. What a title. Thank you.
Thanks so much. I've got to be honest, in Scotland, it's just, I just sound like a regular alcoholic. But thanks for joining us, Kinsey. It's great to see you.
Good to see you too. I love watching you step in for Mark.
Thanks. Now, it seems that the president's son, Hunter Biden, is in deep waters with his legal troubles this week. What's been going on?
What a tornado, Leo. Yeah, some conservative media outlets believe this appointment by Merrick Garland is a move to undermine claims from Republicans and these IRS whistleblowers that the prosecutor investigating Hunter Biden, David Weiss, is actually being led by the Biden administration. Weiss was elevated to special counsel just this Friday, and while there is some pushback from the right claiming that the appointment of the special counsel is just a bid to stonewall their investigation into the Bidens, realistically, this new status grants Weiss this additional power to broaden his inquiries, potentially going beyond the state of Delaware into D.C., into California. So could this investigation evolve from just the tax charge, the gun charge, into some of Hunter's sketchy business activities? That's what people want to know.
And of course, some of those business activities have been linked. I mean, the House Oversight Committee says that it's money flowing in, millions of dollars flowing into to Joe Biden's family in sort of political graft. I mean, do you think that could be exposed further?
That is exactly what this could potentially expose. I mean, and just to that point, we learned Friday that the negotiations around Hunter's previous sweetheart deal that the judge found unconstitutional, those negotiations have stalled, and Hunter is likely to go to trial. And the idea of a sitting president's son going on trial in the spotlight of not only mainstream media, but social media, it's really unbelievably frightening to the White House. That would be an incredible distraction. But I also think it could be catastrophic for a re-election campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you think this could affect Joe Biden even running as the candidate in 2024? Could they pick someone else? I mean, I know Michelle Obama has been touted as a name.
I've heard that too, Leo. I know, and people look at me funny, but I've absolutely heard Michelle Obama too. Yeah, I mean, Michelle Obama and Gavin Newsom. You know, Gavin Newsom, the way that we see in the states promoted tweets from Gavin, promoted X's. I don't know what we're allowed to call them anymore. But Gavin Newsom promotes his social media content. He's really trying to put his name out there, not necessarily so we know where he stands, but he's just trying to throw himself at you so you know who Gavin Newsom is and you recognize him in case he has an opportunity to swoop in and be the Democratic candidate. But there are whispers of other people waiting in the wings in case things go south. I do think, however, that Hunter Biden would do everything. You know, we heard he's like recording a documentary. He's trying to fight these allegations the only way he knows how. But I do think he's going to try to step up and defend himself to protect his father.
Yeah. And do you think the Democratic establishment will make moves to suppress the story? I mean, we saw in the previous election in 2020, they colluded with government agencies, they colluded with big tech to suppress the Hunter Biden laptop story.
The short answer is yes. I mean, it was wild to watch that while it was happening. And to know that there had to be some legitimacy to the story, and to have like the New York Post, one of the oldest newspapers and a pretty respected newspaper, silenced on social media, to have Facebook and Twitter actually agreeing on something for the first time and working to shut it down. Yeah. It's intimidating, and it makes you question everything going on.
Yeah, and it's anti-democratic. And of course, the other big legal news coming out of the US at the moment is former President Trump, his indictment. What's the latest on that?
Okay, Leo, so I didn't know if you wanted this to be the segue, but when you asked about distractions, obviously, or if they're going to look for a way to try to kill that Hunter Biden story, I mean, here we go. Talking about former President Donald Trump facing 78 felony charges and 3 criminal trials on the campaign trail. A 4th indictment could come any day now. What I will say is Trump's base is unique in the sense that any sort of trial or charge electrifies them. It motivates them. They're very protective of him. Where if you look at Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's entire campaign revolves around a moral superiority to Trump. But you look at Hunter and it's like, look at your wayward son and the way he uses his connections to you to fatten his pockets, plus alleged drugs, plus alleged guns, plus alleged girls and tax evasion. Trump is unapologetic, and that is why his base loves him.
Yeah, and I mean, the allegations with Hunter Biden do link back to Joe. I mean, Hunter Biden himself said that he's kicking up half of the money he's raking in, the millions he's raking in, up to the big guy. So, yeah, I mean, it seems Joe doesn't have clean hands with that. There's been a poll conducted in Iowa which said that half of Republicans say that Trump should still campaign for president in 2024, even if he's imprisoned. How do you see that playing out?
Okay, but I do have to stress, alternatively, according to the same poll, 4 in 10 say that Trump should drop out of the presidential race entirely if he ends up in jail. He does retain that strong grip that he needs in Iowa, an important early state, with the president facing, with him facing so many criminal trials, it raises the possibility insanely, of a presidential candidate being imprisoned during his campaign and potentially facing hundreds of years in prison if found guilty on all counts. But I'm just going to say Trump is a fighter. He was seen today overshadowing his GOP rivals at the Iowa State Fair, followed around like a rock star, people wanting pictures, people wanting his autograph. He's defiant as ever, and that really ignites his base.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, this is strengthened. This indictment has strengthened him. And that might be what the Democrats want to do, because they couldn't win against Ron DeSantis, but they could win against Trump. And before we move on, I would just like to say, of course, that Hunter Biden he's innocent until proven guilty. So we're not drawing any conclusions about that. But do research what the House Oversight Committee said about him and Joe Biden's business connections if you want some information, if you're sitting at home. Moving on, Kinsey, of course, Prince Harry and Meghan are in the news again this week. Harry's been playing polo in Singapore, hasn't he?
Yeah, this is for a Sitabale charity. Leo, you're going to be so mad at me. I'm not going to criticize him about this. He's raised over $12 million collectively for this charity that, it's important to them that they help anybody affected, children affected by HIV or AIDS.
Is that Singapore dollars, though?
Pardon? Can you say that one more time? Is
that Singaporean dollars or is that real dollars?
I believe it's dollars. I would have to check with you. But I do feel like perhaps this is an example of Prince Harry listening to us and using this amazing platform that God gifted him with to focus on other people instead of wallowing in his own misery. So I have to give him props this time around.
But I've got to say, he's got some sort of plan to help poor people, poor kids get into polo. And I thought there's a bit of a barrier with getting into polo because you need a horse. Is he going to hand out horses from his private collection out to poor children in the north of England? Are we all going to have a horse in our bathtub?
You know what, Leo? You're asking logistics questions, and I really respect that. You're a logical person, so I'm going to give you props too. What he talked about in Japan was that sports really is heals people mentally and physically. Sports can heal you from trauma, and I do think that he's just looking for different ways that his favorite sport is polo, and he's looking for ways to help children, underprivileged children. And you're right, where are they going to find the horse? There's a lot of logistics to think about, but he's just trying to find a way to help people through some of his passions.
Well, I guess that's nice. Kinsey, thanks so much for joining us. That was really interesting.
Thanks, Leo.